The final UFC event of 2025 takes place this weekend. UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Kape. I was mistaken in thinking that last weekend was the last big one. UFC promotion is not great, especially for fight nights, we know. But I figured we go ahead and get our predictions out early, get them done. This is still a very good fight night. It's kind of a sleeper, not very strong on name value, but if you know these fights, you know that they're going to be bangers. And we'll go ahead and jump straight in, I guess, to the early prelim opener of Jamey-Lyn Horth versus Tereza Bleda. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm not too familiar. Like I said, it's not huge on name value. So I do know of these fighters, but I'm not familiar with their careers, the recent records. So if you see me glancing by the monitor, I have Tapology pulled up. I just want to make sure I'm doing my research here. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump in with this opener. Again, Jamey-Lyn Horth versus Tereza Bleda. Both of these women, similar records, 7-1 for Bleda, 8-2 for Horth. A better win streak on the side of Bleda. She's coming off of a 3-fight win streak. Meanwhile, Jamey-Lyn has gone 3-2 in her last 5, alternating between them. Win-loss, win-loss, win, which isn't the best look going into this. Obviously, they're both riding the win streak, but if you look at their striking, they're pretty even, nothing crazy. Honestly, Horth's probably a better one there. They're both pretty well-rounded. They're definitely going to go to a decision, I think. But in all honesty, I think I see Tereza Bleda getting this one done. I think she'll have the higher output. I think she's more aggressive. Both of these women are relatively the same height, but Bleda being the taller one, I think she'll be more physical in the grappling. We don't see in WMMA a lot, like the taller women that are still shorter against their opponents use that position really well in grappling up against the cage, like a Jessica Andrade, who's like 5'4", 5'3" would. So yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about this fight. It's going to be a typical WMMA fight, striking on the feet, grappling up against the cage. And it's a close fight, but I'm going to pick Bleda to win via decision. That's really all I have to say for this. We'll go ahead and move on to an even more ambiguous fight. Frye Jr., that sounds like a meal at McDonald's or something. He doesn't even have a record in the UFC, versus Guilherme Pat, who also doesn't have anything. I mean, this is a billion-dollar company, by the way. But I have both of these men topologies pulled up, and it looks like they are killers. 6-0 to Frye, 5-0 to Pat. Both of these guys huge, 6'4" and 6'5", respectfully. Heavyweight guys, got big power in their hands, completely undefeated. Great stuff for the both of them. The favorite is Pat, at least on topology, but I think I'm going to go with Frye. He seems to have a lot better output with the hands. This will probably be a round 1 KO, swang and bang. It's going to be very entertaining. I don't see this going to the ground. Maybe Pat shoots a takedown. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist, it looks like. But both of these guys like to stand and bang. I think majority of their wins, they didn't even populate here, but majority of the wins have come by finish. This is going to be a really explosive fight. There's not too much on these gentlemen. I don't see a lot of grappling in this fight. Probably round 1, Frye Jr. TKO KO. Maybe sleeps him out cold on the canvas. This is going to be a really explosive fight to open up the prelims. I feel like that first fight might stink it up a bit. But yeah, these are two big guys that are going to swing and bang, and I think Frye's just a little bit more athletic. They're both very in shape. Heavyweights, they're not plods, they're not blobs. So yeah, this is going to be a firefight, at least for as long as it goes before they gas out. I'm not saying the title walk will start now for either of these gentlemen, but I'm going to go with Frye Jr. By round 1 KO. We move on to Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. I don't know if you can hear that. A plane just flew over my house very close. Both of these women relatively similar in their rankings. However, not in the rankings, sorry. Their recent outings and their records. But Luana Santos is ranked number 10 and Croden's outside the rankings in 20. Now, Croden has looked good. Her last fight was a bit close, if I recall, but she did end up getting the KO, and she does go for it. She is a vicious striker. She does not like to see the judges. Granted, it takes her a minute to get there because it's WMMA. And Luana Santos, not as much the same. Usually goes to the decision a bit more, has a bit more grappling, little to no hands. But in all honesty, I feel like she's still probably going to win. Croden's good, but I think there's a big difference between even being ranked in the UFC women's division and not being ranked. And while Croden has looked good, I don't know if she's going to be good enough to get through a test like Luana Santos. Maybe she breaks into the top 15 with a big win over a top 10 opponent, but I think Luana Santos is a bit too crafty. They're relatively the same in height, 5'6" to 5'9", so it's not going to be a huge wrestling thing. If anybody does grapple, it's going to be pretty even, so I don't see some domination from either side. I think Luana Santos will be a bit too slick. She'll avoid the big shots from Croden. She'll clinch when she needs to. She'll get the takedowns when she needs to. And I think she'll have the output on the feet to match Croden so the judges don't swing it Croden's way over damage, which, yeah, I think she's going to negate it with the grappling. most people are picking Santos to win this. Some people are going KO by Croden. I could see a Croden KO. That'd be very cool if she got it. Violence to the division. I'd be hyped for a new prospect. But Luana Santos is established. Like I said, she's riding a 3-fight win streak. Croden just bounced back from her first loss. She lost to Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Granted, it was 2 years ago. Women's fighters aren't exactly particularly active. She got a bounce back win against Karina Holm KO 3 years and 3 months ago. Oh, it's going right to left. I'm completely wrong. But yeah, I take that back. Croden's riding the 3-fight win streak. That's weird. Usually that goes left to right. It looks like Santos did have that loss recently in 2024, but in 2025 she's bounced back against a win over Tanara Lisboa. I think that's a decent win. Again, Croden's got momentum. She's a dangerous striker. I really do like her as a fighter, but I think just the slickness and the veteran mindset of knowing what to do in an MMA fight, even when the going gets tough, with Luana Santos, we'll get her the win in this, probably by decision. So we're gonna go with Luana Santos by decision. We move on. Sharaf versus Steven Asplund. That's a crazy name and a crazy build. But good for him. He looks like a guy who's got himself back in shape. This is a good fight. This is going to be an explosive fight, I bet. Both these gentlemen like to swing and bang, not a lot of stats. I think this is his debut. His previous fight was on the Dana White Contender Series just a few months ago. We got a K over Anthony Gosari. I'm not even trying to pronounce that. Sharaf, though, he lost to Junior Tafa a year ago via KO, which is never a great look. And I'm not going to sit here and say Steven is some generational talent, because we don't know. He definitely is the favorite. Most people are picking him to win, but he's got momentum on his side too. Sharaf just faced his first loss. It was a big first loss. So granted, while he goes for it, when he does win, I mean, hammer of the nail, really, for him, it seems. And granted, that was his very first loss, but I don't like that. As soon as you get to the UFC, you lose to Junior Tafa. That doesn't say much about your potential in the UFC. Whereas Asplund has come up, gotten 3 wins within 10 months. He's fought 5 times in under 2 years, only taking 1 loss, I want to say, by submission. And I don't think Sharaf is going to have the grappling. Does he even show it? Yeah. Even if he gets the takedown, I don't see him subbing Asplund. I think Asplund has way more explosive hands. He's shown on the Contender Series. He's an established guy. He's bigger too. He has longer reach. I think he'll be more explosive, work to get on the inside, shovel nasty hooks. Probably KO Sean up against the cage or in the clinch with like an uppercut hook around the guard. This will be a really fun fight, though. I could see it going around 2, but I'm going to predict round 1 KO for Steven Asplund. I just think the striking is going to be too much for Sharaf, and losing to Junior Tafa is never a good look in my book, but we'll go ahead and move on to the Eternal Gatekeeper. Neil Magny versus Yaroslav Amosov. Now, you'll have to give me a second because I know diddly squat about Amosov, but he doesn't fight a lot. He's fought about once a year, which is terrible. He's only lost to KO TKO, but he's got good submission, and he's got really good grappling. Of course, they didn't populate any of these stats, but his regional scene's looking very good here. We obviously know Magny's not a guy that you should underestimate. He's got an infinite gas tank. He did it to Mallet when Mallet was whooping his ass the entire fight and then gassed out. Not even gassed, just got in a bad position, went Canadian fight style and just lost via semi-TKO. But I don't know. I like the grappling and what I'm seeing on Yaroslav's on his side. I mean, they haven't populated a lot of the stats on there, and there's not a lot on here, so I can't really dive deep into it to get at it. But I mean, looking at his recent wins, submission, take away the loss. His other win, decision. So it's not great, but his grappling looks to have improved. Magny is bigger, but if you're a guy who's a grappler, I think being a little bit shorter, especially at 170, is better, using that frame up against the cage. We've seen Magny get ragdolled on the ground. Magny's proven to be a gatekeeper, but I don't think you can gatekeep forever, and this might be the time where he gets choked out maybe. We're going to go with Yaroslav Amosov by submission, probably round 2. I could see maybe round 1 if he's able to muscle Magny over. Magny's good, man. He's well-rounded. He has good grappling defense, good grappling offense. He can latch up a slick submission with his long, lanky arms. He doesn't have a lot of damage behind his punches, but he has a lot of output, which can put anyone away. We've seen guys make a career off of it. Diaz brothers, just other people and whatnot. And I think Magny's really good, and there's definitely a chance for a fraud check here. You know, good old Unk Magny got it. He still got it, keeping the gates closed. But I'm gonna trust in the upcoming guy, Amosov. He's got hype. He has finishing instinct, and he's big for I think he's 5'11", but he still looks pretty big in these photos I'm seeing. Magny's always notoriously a bit skinny despite being 6'3". Maybe he spoils the fun, but we're gonna go with the new guy, Amosov, by round 2 submission. If Magny wins this, I'm just gonna feel stupid. We move on. Joanderson, Brito versus Melsik, Baghdasaryan. Both these gentlemen coming off of losses, it looks like. I mean, Brito coming off of 2, but they're against decent guys. William Gomez, Pat Sabatini. I think both of those men have had wins in their recent outings, so it's not a badly aged loss. And Melsik Baghdasaryan, his last loss was when he got baited by Gene Silva and slept out cold. Whenever Gene Silva's laughing, trying to hug you, high-five you, he's just setting up a KO, and you're a fucking idiot if you play into that game. And Lopez didn't play into that game. I don't like Gene Silva. You know, like, you'll see this in his next fight prediction. But yeah, that's why Melsik Baghdasaryan lost. He fell victim to that stupid game. And I just don't know how to go about this. He hasn't looked good in his recent outings. Brito's got a lot of experience, I feel. I mean, he's got decent wins. Jack Shore, we saw the win over Jonathan Pierce where he was talking smack, which was funny. Before that, he got a win over Weston Wilson, who's not anything to be proud of in terms of a win, but it's still momentum. But who has Melsik won to before that? Tucker Lutz, who isn't great. He lost to Josh Kulabau. So is a win. It's too far. It's too far back. Joanderson Brito's been far too active compared to for Baghdasaryan. I understand both of these men are coming off of losses. It looks, yeah. I mean, the problem is Brito's coming off of decision losses to really good guys, and one of them being a split decision for that matter. And Baghdasaryan has been finished a few times in his career. It looks like 3 times. And I just don't like how that looks. I know both these guys have pretty good grappling in their back pocket. They like to strike on the feet. They're just snappy featherweights. It's your standard featherweight build. The grappling offense is definitely going to favor Brito. You know, the Brazilian guy's got jiu-jitsu, wrestling. I know he goes for it in his fights. Saw it against Jack Shore. Saw it against Jonathan Pierce when he was ground and pounding, hitting the back of the head. Or he was hitting the back of the head from getting ground and pounded by Jonathan Pierce. Got up, snatched up a nasty ghillie, I think it was, or a rear naked, and made JSP tap. That's because they call him JSP. So he's got that grappling in his back pocket, and it looks like he's not afraid to stand on the feet as well. Granted, Baghdasaryan might lap him in those numbers. I don't think Baghdasaryan has the power to put away Brito or make him fear it, and I think with Brito having that wrestling in his back pocket, I'm going to pick him to get this win. Probably by decision, I'll say. I mean, it's only 3 rounds. Featherweight guys don't get finished too easily. I think Baghdasaryan's durable. I think losing to Gene Silva's nothing to be ashamed about. Lopez was getting he got his jaw like collected a bit by Gene Silva and was like, let me lock in, because Gene Silva hits hard, man. We've seen it. So yeah, we're gonna go with Joanderson Brito by decision, and we move on to the final fight of the prelims: Amanda Lemos versus Gillian Robertson. Lemos hasn't looked great in recent outings. She's 2-3 in her last 5. A loss to Suarez, who hasn't looked good. She got the winner, Elasmin Yacindo. It's not great. Verna Jandaroba, she lost to, but Verna just fought for a title. But she also lost to Mackenzie Dern. So she just lost to both of the fighters who fought for the title, showing that she's not up there anymore. I'm not going to say anything about the loss to Zhang, because who doesn't lose to Zhang? But Robertson's riding a 4-fight win streak. If I want to say she's a slick submission. KO, TKO, decision, KO, TKO. Okay, what was I talking about? I swear she had submissions. Granted, she has been pretty active. 5 fights in 2 years for a female fighter. That's pretty good. Lemos the same, but she hasn't looked as good in her recent outings, and you see the momentum here. Both of these women are about the same size, but I'll be honest, whenever I watch a Lemos fight, she looks frail. She looks frail. She looks decent on the feet, snappy. But when someone gets a hold of her seriously, we saw it against Andrade, that picture of her getting strangled up against the cage in a standing like head and arm triangle. It's just not a good look in a fight. And Gillian Robertson is physical. She might have won by TKO ground and pound, but she uses that grappling to get there. She will offensively get takedowns. She will defend your takedowns, and she will go for subs if needed. But she's going to look to ground and pound you while she has you there. And I just don't think Lemos has the durability and dog in her anymore. She's getting old. She's 38 years old, and Robertson's 30, so Robertson's hitting the prime of her career. Lemos is getting up there in age. She's taking some damage. Her title aspirations are probably gone. She has the record that buffs her stats, but I think in recent years she's not been known for her slick striking. she just lets the fight get away from her, and she usually loses the big moments like grappling and big shots on the feet. I mean, I think I've even seen her get rocked a few times. Um, Granted, this is a 3-round fight. I'm probably still going to go with Gillian Robertson by a 3rd-round KO TKO. I could see her having a close fight round 1, starting to get momentum in round 2. Round 3, she's just ragdolling Lemos and then gets like a ground-and-pound TKO like she has in her recent outings. I don't really have much else to say about that. I think that's pretty clear, cut and dry. We're going to go with Robertson by round 3 KO TKO due to like a grappling clinic. We move on to the first fight of the main card. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Marcus Buchecha. So Marcus Buchecha debuted in the UFC a few months back, I want to say, and he did not do good. He's a multiple-time GI ADCC champion. He had good striking on the come-up. He had a lot of submissions, ground-and-pound TKOs, but this was years ago. But the signs were there early, and one when he lost a decision to a guy. And we saw in his debut in the UFC against Martin Buday, who's not a good guy. I want to say he got finished. Let me see. No, he lost by a decision, but he was losing decisively. He was getting stung up on the feet. I think he couldn't get any takedowns off in that fight, and if he did, Buday was back up. And I don't think that it looks good when an ADCC multi-time champion can't get a takedown. Granted, it's gi jiu-jitsu, which gi is notorious for not actually implementing wrestling because you just get grips, pull guard, and you're good to go. But I still think a physical, juiced out of his mind Brazilian jiu-jitsu champ should be able to get a takedown on a guy like Martin Buday. And just showing that he couldn't makes me worry in this fight. I don't care about Kennedy Nzechukwu coming off of the loss to Walter Walker. Walter Walker is good jiu-jitsu. He's no-gi MMA jiu-jitsu where heel hooks work, not just trying to stupidly shoot takedowns. And he works it in with wrestling. But before that, I mean, Kennedy Nzechukwu beat guys like Lucas Bresky, KO, which was first round, looked really good there. Chris Barnett, which isn't a crazy one, but he's shown that he's probably better than some of the guys who are debuting the heavyweight division. Granted, his record hasn't been the best. Lost to Oven St. Preux, who, that's nothing wrong with that. Dustin Jacoby a few years back, which I think Jacoby was doing good then. But Buchecha, you come to your UFC debut and you lose to a guy like Buday. I just don't think you're going to be anything. I don't think you have it. I don't think you have the grit. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys who can hang in the MMA scene. We've seen it time and time again. Ryan Hall, Claudio Puelles, other names coming to mind. But yeah, we're going to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu. Probably, I honestly think he'll get a KO TKO here. Probably round 1, maybe round 2, I think. If Buchecha really does try, if he just magically gets the grappling off, then I'm an idiot. But I just don't think Martin Buday is better than Kennedy Nzechukwu. But that remains to be seen. But we're going to pick Kennedy with round 1 KO TKO, maybe round 2. I'll put that in as my caveat. We move on. Melquizael Costa versus Morgan Charrière. Now, I'm a fan of Morgan Charrière. He's a slick striker. He's fun. But record of momentum. I just went, His record hasn't looked the best. He's 3-2 in his last 5. A win over Nate Landwehr, but Landwehr hasn't looked great in recent outings. A loss to Nathaniel Wood, who has looked good in his recent win, but Nathaniel Wood's not, a world beater. Wins over Gabriel Miranda. He lost that split decision to Marshall that I thought he should have won. And then he got a win via body kicks, but it was against a nobody. But Costa's been on a run. Julian Erosa, Christian Rodriguez, Andre Fili, touchy-feely. I'm a huge Andre Fili fan. Granted, he has terrible decision-making. And I'm not even going to pronounce that. But a year and 5 months ago, he got a rear naked submission choke. So Costa's good. He's a finisher. He's aggressive. He's aggressive on the feet, but when he wants to grapple, he will grapple, and he'll go for it, and he'll go for the sub. And I really like how that looks. And while I'm a huge fan of Charrière and his striking, I don't think... he was getting out-pieced by Mariscal on the feet because Mariscal was dogging it out. And I think Costa's a dog as well. I think Costa will have enough on the feet for him, maybe too much. And I don't see Charrière even thinking about grappling because it's Costa. He is the one who aggressively grapples. He shoots on the hips. He pushes you up against the fence. He chases the rear naked, chases the back. Has really good fights out there. I don't know, man. I think this is pretty clear cut. We're probably going to go with Melquizael Costa, but the way it's going to end, I don't know. Probably by decision. I think Morgan Charrière is durable enough to not get knocked out, not get submitted, but I could see some pretty bad damage getting put on him. Maybe getting sliced open with elbows by Costa, maybe a close submission threat, but Charrière escapes. I think this will be a 3-round tough fight, probably 29-28, maybe 30-27, but very close rounds. I'm going to take Melquizael Costa by decision. He's going to be too good on the feet, too good on the ground. And that's all I got to say. We move on to César Almeida versus Cezary Olejchik. I don't know. God, this is César Almeida. We're gonna go with César Almeida. I don't have the Tapology pull up on my other monitor, but I think this guy must have had a really good fight on the Contender Series, and it skewed his results. Good takedown defense by these gentlemen. Neither of them are grapplers in that sense. They all look to get a KO. Very skewed here. I think 1-0 on the Contender Series coming into the UFC is really green for most people. Granted, if he was against a can, I think he could do good. I haven't seen his Contender Series performance, so maybe he's a lot better than I'm thinking. But 7-1 César Almeida, I think he got a win in his last fight out. It was a dog fight, but he's good. César Almeida's a big dude. Granted, his opponent's bigger, but he still uses his size well. He's got a lot of strength behind him. He's got good takedown defense in case this Cezary guy tries to wrestle him if the striking's not going well. But I think the experience of César should be enough to wait off Cezary. Let me look this up and see what the odds have it at, just so I'm not missing out on anything here. Oh wow, most people are taking his opponent. Let me do some research here. He is a slight favorite. Whoa. All right. Never mind. No. We're changing, bro. Looking at Almeida's record here, in the past 2 years, he's 4-1, great wins. Came up on the Contender Series, and he's established himself in the UFC. A split decision loss to Roman Kopylov isn't bad, but his opponent, I mean, destroying, like Tom Breeze, Theo Haig. Both these gentlemen are 4-1 in their last 5, but César Almeida is riding a 2-fight win streak, whereas Cezary is riding a 4-fight win streak. Oh, it's because they were doing the UFC record here. No, this guy's good. 16-3. Okay, I take this back. I did not know ball here. He's the favorite, so I'm kind of riding the bandwagon here. It looks like there's going to be a finish, though. It looks like he's very aggressive on the feet. Obviously, we saw that in the output. Skewing all the way over there. Yeah, this guy has crazy output. He's got good wins all by KO, TKO, hammer fist, doctor stoppage, punches. This guy looks like a killer. We're going to go ahead and take Cezary Olejchik, or however you pronounce it. Terrible at these things, but yeah. I thought maybe the experience of César would be enough, but after looking at this guy's record, I was not familiar with this game. We're taking him. Probably César isn't afraid of a dogfight, though, so I would say this is probably one and done for these gentlemen. They're going to swing and bang for it. It looks like, what's the average fight time? Where do you see that win by? Yeah, he must have got a crazy win on the Contender Series, and I think he's going to translate that to the UFC well. I wasn't familiar. He's 16-3. That is very notable. The UFC not populating that in is a terrible idea for guys like me trying to make a pick. But, yeah, we're going to take Cezary by round 1 KO. Good thing I caught that before I got a pick wrong. We move on to the co-main event of Giga Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos. This is a tough one because Chikadze, while he's coming off of a loss, he's an established guy. He is getting up there in age. He's 37, where his opponent's 24. He's 2-3 in his last 5, and that spans over 5 years. So over the last 2 years, he hasn't gotten a win. Granted, 2 decision losses, but they were bad losses. He got his ass whooped by Onama, and he got his ass whooped by Allen over the 5 rounds. I just don't like how that looks, especially when your opponent is Kevin Vallejos, the guy who gave Gene Silva arguably his hardest fight outside of Lopez, obviously. Kevin Vallejos has nasty striking. He's only lost to Gene. His last 5 have all been he has 1 decision in his most recent outing, but before that, all finishes. I remember that last fight. People were giving him shit for it. Like, fights get tougher as you go up in the rankings. Granted, you can get better, but you're not going to be able to finish your opponent every time. But Vallejos is nasty, man, and he's got the grappling to back it up. So, and Chikadze's not shooting, so we're not even going to talk grappling. Maybe Vallejos will grapple to do what he wants to Chikadze. Maybe he'll just ground and pound him and finish him there. But on the feet, I still think he's more aggressive. Chikadze's good, but he just back foot, body kick. I think Vallejos is the shorter, stockier guy. He's going to be able to tuck that elbow and block that body kick a lot easier. And he's nasty. He gets it on the pocket, puts in combos, very Topuria-like stuff. You see he's very built. He's a shorter guy, but he's built. He's got, big chest, big arms. He's got a lot of rotational swing. He's got power. The guy has a crazy finish rate. He's 24. He's young. He's explosive. Jachetzi's got 5 inches of height on him. And if Kevin Vallejos is a short guy who loves to get into the pocket and you're 5 inches taller than him, you better look out. And Jachetzi's got a pea head that's ready to dome. We're taking Vallejos, but I think the damage will accumulate. I think Jachetzi's still pretty durable in a sense. This could go to a decision, but I see a Kevin Vallejos round 3 KO TKO in all honesty. But I won't be surprised if this goes to the decision. Jachetzi is very durable. He survived the Calvin Kattar fight where he got sliced up by elbows in round 5. But I think Kevin Vallejos is going to really put that pepper on him. I think Jachetzi's taking a bit too much wear and tear, and there's no way in hell I see a Jachetzi fraud check. Vallejos is too good. He's coming up. This isn't a rushed fight. It's not like a top 5 guy in the division. So I'm confident in Kevin Vallejos round 3 KO TKO. We move on to the main event of the night and the final fight of 2025, the final fight of the ESPN era for that matter, which it's comical that Cap's going to be the very last guy on the ESPN era because they probably hate to hear him on a mic. Brandon Royval coming off of a loss to the a loss to the champ, I guess it is now. It was a close fight, but he gave it up in that last round, getting knocked down, aggressive. But he was putting it on, Vaughn, and moments, and he wasn't waiting at all. Before that, he literally beat Tetsuro Taira by decision, who they're talking about him not getting a shot. So he's up there. He's good. Kops looked good in his recent outing, but the win over Almeida was kind of unfair. There was a lot of eye pokes in the finish. Before that, Bruno Silva, who I think he also Kop's a dirty fighter. He did lose to Muhammad Wakayev, got his milk dud butt cheeks out in the arena. But, I don't know, man. Manel Kape is fast. He's slick with his angles, but he's small. He's 5'5", and Brandon Royval is 5'9", and Manel doesn't look to grapple a lot unless he gets grappled on and he defensively grapples. I think this will be a good stand-up fight. If Manel tries to wrestle, maybe that could get him the win. But Royval is slick, man. Royval's got good striking. He's got crazy output. He's long. Granted, same reach as Manel Kape, but I think he'll put it on him and walk him down and just keep peppering him. Granted, the power's on Kape's side, but I think we saw it with Taira over 5 rounds. I understand Kape has a gas tank, but it's hard to hang with Royval over 5 rounds with his output. I mean, raw dog don't stop. Yes, there's grappling on both sides for these gentlemen, but I really do think this will be a stand-up fight. It's pretty evenly matched. I just think the pace of the output's going to be too much for Brandon Royval. I don't really see a finish. Granted, this is flyweight. If anybody has a chance to get a finish, it'd be Kape. Maybe Royval's taking too much damage off that Vaughn knockdown, and he gets hurt and Kape wins. I don't see that happening, though. I see Royval still having his chin, still hanging in there, putting the pace on Manel Kape. I think Kape is really good, but I think this is just one of those stylistic matchups. Royval's a tough fight for anyone, but I could see Kape getting tired over the 5 rounds. I still think this goes to a decision, though. Smaller guys pretty much always go to a decision. If anyone's going to get a finish, it's probably Kape. But we're going to take Brandon Royval by decision. I say he wins probably. I think Kape starts strong and wins the first, maybe the second, possibly even the 3rd round, and then it's controversial. But I think Royval will start to take over. He'll eventually find his timing. He'll find Manel. He'll find his range. And he'll just start putting it on him, 1-1-2, 1-2 uppercut, hook. He'll just start putting combos together, styling on him, walking him down. And Manel relies on this, super explosive movement and not getting caught and being slick and clip farming. And I don't think you can do that over 5 rounds without getting tired. And if you get tired in front of Brandon, woo Jesus, look out. But again, this is still a really good card to cap off the year. Not great name value, but I'm sure all these fights are going to deliver in terms of their finishes or just hype for that matter. I'm really excited to see the co-main, specifically Kevin Vallejos. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, this is a decent way to end off the year. We could have had better, but I'm really excited for the Paramount era. Looking forward to what's there. We got a lot of good fights coming up in the first quarter of 2026. If you had any picks different, let me know. I'm probably going to wrap up the video here. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'd say I'm recording this on Tuesday. I'm going to schedule it to drop on Thursday. I actually have a video scheduled to drop today about the state of the UFC commentary. So if y'all enjoyed that video, please go give that a like. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But yeah, y'all get out of here. Hopefully you don't lose any money on this card if you are betting. But see ya.